Well, this morning we're talking about a very, very interesting topic. Many have said that the reason that we're facing so many challenges in society in terms of crime is because the family unit is under attack. Here to talk to us about Families in Action Parenting Workshop, we have the Youth Education Manager. He's no stranger to us here on CTV, Mr. Ken Ramdan. We also have Parenting Educator, Mr. Albert Spence. Gentlemen, welcome.
Morning. Morning, thank you.
So during a previous interview, we spoke a little bit about the initiative, the entire initiative by Families in Action and the various workshops that you all have. And I understand that you all are celebrating 30 years, your 30th anniversary, and you're hosting a parenting workshop for fathers. Mr. Ramdan, what is this all about?
So we're 30 years old, as we were saying. So we're really excited about what that milestone means. And in trying to be fair to the 30 years, we're trying to give back to the public. And what we're doing is that we're hosting a lot of activities for the general public to benefit from our services at Families in Action. One such was a Mother's Day program that we had around Mother's Day on the 19th of May, and that was the role of the mother. So we're celebrating the parenting aspect at this point. And in theme for Father's Day, we also have one coming up on Saturday. So we're really here to promote the milestone that we're achieving, the activities that we're doing, and really to focus on the Father's Day program that's upcoming this Saturday.
Mr. Spence, how important is focusing on fathers? I know most times we tend to rate up the mothers and the mothers and the mothers.
Correct.
How important is it to focus on fathers?
Simply because one gets the perception that we think that fathers are an endangered species. And we want to refute that argument. We want to present fathers as being positive and definite in the parenting aspect. And no better way to do that than to bring a program specifically geared towards fathers and create that kind of a safe space where they will feel comfortable about speaking of their issues, speaking to us, and interacting with one another. We think that is vitally important that fathers are renewed and refreshed and think that they are a co-equal part in this whole thing about parenting.
How do we get the fathers to attend?
Well, put it this way. Our trend, because I've been in parenting for 15 years, right? And basically the trend has always been that we would get more mothers than fathers. But simply the fathers that do come are very excited about being there. And eventually they would sort of, quote unquote, thaw out, and I would be willing to present their perspective. Part of that is what we are doing right now. Okay, being here to ask fathers and so on that you are valuable, you are needed, and that we want you to come, irrespective of race or class or color or condition in life and so on. You are as valuable as the mothers are in the parenting issues.
So we have an agenda planned for this particular program. What's on the agenda?
Well, we want to make sure that fathers understand what their role is, how important and vital that is to parent in this modern era. And we also just want to invite them to come out because as Mr. Spence is saying, one of the things that we're doing to promote the event is to come on the show and do it. We're also tackling men's groups in Trinidad and Tobago, but it is a little difficult to get men to come out to things. And so we just really want to promote and give that opportunity for them to know that there is something happening on Saturday. You are welcomed. Bring a friend, bring somebody. And it's not just for fathers, it's for males because you could be an uncle who have a nephew. You can be a young adult male who wants to father later on. And we just want persons to understand how important that is, the skills that is needed, the tools, and to be in a space where they feel comfortable to share with other parents as well. And that's where the wealth of the knowledge comes from.
Yeah.
So do you have any featured speakers? Are you going to present?
I will be the presenter at one of the sessions, which is in San Fernando, the San Fernando Library. And my son, Jason, who is also a parenting facilitator, will be working out of the Sandy Grande Library. So we are, you know.
Now you mentioned that it might be a challenge to get fathers out.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's the case?
I think because basically the culture, the assumption has always been that parenting is about mothering issues, and it is the mother who will be doing the parenting. And the father will only step in if and where necessary with the harsh voice and the disciplinary aspect of it and so on. But we feel that the father's role is much larger, more widespread than that. And that, in fact, because we have that kind of perception and that kind of a cultural lock-in, there's a lot that fathers may be missing in the lives of their children, and conversely, the children, they are missing out, and the children also missing out on their fathers.
Yes. Well, let's continue this conversation just after the newscast.
Sure,
So we take a very short break for the news, and we will return with Mr. Ken Ramdan and Mr. Albert Spence. Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. While we continue with the program, as we mentioned earlier, we have Ken Ramdan, Youth Education Manager, and Mr. Albert Spence, Parenting Educator. Families in Action, they are celebrating their 30th anniversary and are hosting a parenting workshop for fathers. We were getting into the conversation. We were talking about some of the challenges that they face in actually getting some of the fathers or even the males to attend this event. Even during the break, Mr. Ramdan, we were talking a little bit about the culture of Trinidad and Tobago. Most times you were saying if a child needs something, they would turn to the mothers. Correct?
Yes, and we've been, now even though the rules are changing now, we're looking at 2018, what we knew as children growing up is that if you needed something, you would go and ask your mom, your mother. If you're lucky enough to have a father that's around, he would usually be the one that's the disciplinarian. And we're looking at how the rules are changing now, because you realize that it has to be a shared existence in your household. That role has to be shared. And therefore, parents or fathers and mothers need to understand how important that role is and what does that do, and how it affects the children.
Now, Mr. Spence, he made a very interesting statement there. He said, if you're lucky enough to have a father.
Yeah.
So it actually speaks to this issue that we have in Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of fatherless homes.
Right. And basically, because of that situation and so on, that brings a dysfunctional environment into the child's life, and so, and the extent to which the father now is going to be reintroduced into that environment, whether the willingness of the mother to have him as being part of it and so on, and the longing for the child to also have a relationship with his father. Because you do get children who are going to ask you the questions that 10, 15, 20 years ago would not have been asked by a child. Where's my daddy? Who is my daddy? Where is he from? How do I don't see him? So sometimes that of itself is a challenge for the mother. But given that we understand that it is a twosome, the father and the mother, then that makes it even more important for the mother to recognize and accept that the child is missing an aspect of his life that is very important for him.
Mr. Ramdan, how does that impact that child in terms of a child's behavior, perhaps?
I think, well, so we were saying during the break that children are really like sponges. They do learn a lot from what they see, and they model that behavior that they observe from the parents. And whether that be the good behavior, the bad behavior. But a lot of times what they learn is that they may not understand how communication works effectively. They may not understand how to build relationships and to sustain those relationships. And you'll also find that as you go through life, when you meet in different situations, you have to make and foster those relationships. And the dynamics that it takes to strengthen those bonds, they may not have the proper understanding or knowledge from what the model that they're seeing at home. Now, I also want to mention that although we're saying that, when I mentioned you may be lucky enough to have a father, also understand that there are situations where fathers do want to be part of the household, but they're not allowed to in some instances, because of the dynamics of any relationship. Different factors may be involved, and we're not delving too much into those factors. But I mean, we just don't want to say that fathers are absent all the time, but there are fathers who want to be present, but for some reason or the other they cannot be.
As well as, I think it's also important to consider that from the child's perspective, if you do not have a male in the household who is there and regular in the child's life and so on, then how is he going to model what it is to be a man? And to understand what it takes to become a father, all those things that a male particularly, not only a male, but the daughters as well, to be able to see a father in action and to appreciate that this is what I can become later in life and so on.
And a level of security and protection.
Exactly, right. That the father, as well as for the father to demonstrate. Okay, I mean, we don't usually associate the gentler emotions with the father, but for the father to demonstrate that caring aspect from a male perspective that only he can do, we talked earlier about being a single parent, as we said, and having to try to cover both roles, and it becomes almost virtually impossible for the mother to become the father and not surrender part of her femininity or her femaleness and so on, in an effort to try to bridge that, so that there is that aspect of it that is very important for fathers to be present in children's life.
Is it the first show?
I want to add to it in that he's making a good point for me in respect to the daughters, because what happens is that the daughters also see it's okay, and they see a version of a man that is, that what we're pushing in society as being, the macho, we're not supposed to be showing that emotion. So that when they see that, if they're looking later on to be in a relationship, how do they now foster that dynamic with their spouse, their partner, about being emotionally intelligent and being able to connect like that? And then that goes on now into them modeling it for their own children later on.
Is it the first time that you're focusing on fathers?
I think we did a program some years ago, but that was many years ago. So we're trying to get it back on board. So as I say, it's in theme with Father's Day, and it's really a gift to all fathers, and to encourage males to come out. It doesn't have to be fathers alone, but just males to come out, because males need a space where they can come and talk. And the wisdom of the room is so important to share, because you'll have grandfathers, fathers, uncles, and so forth, people taking up different roles in the family. And when they all come and share, I learned something that I never knew before. And I think I may know, and it's about learning your parenting styles, understanding your need as a parent, was the children, how do we strike a balance between the two? And you'll find different versions of it as you go along. But it's important to come.
Yes. What are some of the areas you will be speaking to?
Basically, we will be looking we'll be looking at and allowing the fathers to reflect upon themselves, how they present themselves as fathers. And we may be looking at some not so good models, because in order to be able to see where you would like to be, you have to be able to appreciate where you may be. Now, it's not judgmental, but it is the reality of fathering as happens. And then we would like to move forward from that into what we believe could be a good model, not a perfect model, because we always subscribe to the view there is no perfect parent, there's no perfect father, mother, but we like to move forward to something of a model of a good father, what a good father should look like. Within that space and within that time, it is remarkable how 2 hours are going to go.
So it's only 2 hours?
It's only 2 hours. Unfortunately, from 9 to 12, right, Ken?
Well, 9 to 11 to 12, depending on how the discussion goes, which usually goes on.
Right.
Where is this taking place and when?
So we're having it simultaneously at the Sangre Grande Nallis Library and at the San Fernando Nallis Library. It's happening on Saturday, 9th of June, which is this coming Saturday. It starts at 9 a.m. and goes to 11 to 12.
11 to 12,
Do you plan to have more like these in the future?
I would say yes. We do plan to respond to the need, and that's one of the basic functions of Families in Action. We try to be, solution-based, and if the demand is present for us to continue with this, yes, it's something that we would definitely look into doing. But parenting programs are available at our office. If the community decides that they want to have it, they could just call us, and I could share the contact information later on.
What's the number?
628-2333 or 622-6952. And once they call, they could speak to anybody there, and we will start the process of getting into that conversation about how we can actually set up a parenting program, either at a school for a PTA or community, or just interested parents who just want that information.
But you don't have to be a parent to attend. You just, if you want to be a role model in your community, or nurture children, that sort of thing. Is there a cost attached?
The parenting programs, there is a cost, and there's also, we can also look at all alternatives. But once they call on this, they share the information about what they want, how we work through that. But this one on Saturday is free.
It's free.
This is free to the public. So we're asking for all males to attend.
Yes, come out. Also, Mr. Albert, what are your closing comments at this time?
I would like to say to all fathers and so on, to accept who you are, to accept the importance of your role, to understand that you have, there's no rehearsal of being a father. You're a father maybe once in your child's life, and at that point in time when the child becomes an adult, you do not want to have to say, I wish I could have, I wish I could do, or I wish I was there, right? And to allow yourself the opportunity to be humble with your children, to allow yourself to make mistakes, and more importantly, I think to be able to say sorry. And also, I'm closing by saying that to allow yourself and your creator, however you imagine him to be, to have that relationship, because it'll give you the strength to become a better father.
Always important.
Yeah.
Your closing comments, Mr. Ramdan.
I think I want to tell fathers that they have a role. There's an importance for them in Trinidad and Tobago, in their child's life, and it doesn't have to be their own child. It can be for the neighbors, because we used to look out for our neighbors' children.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. And the thing is, I think we said last time that, it takes a village to raise, but also takes a village to fail a child. So we also have to understand that our role is bigger than just the household that we live in. So I want to just encourage fathers to come out, and males in general to come out, to understand that, have these conversations with each other, because we usually have conversations that are lighthearted, but there are deeper issues that we need to start talking about, and feel safe, feel comfortable to share without being judged, and understand that it's a journey. So we'll all make mistakes, but we're here to support each other.
Thank you so much. Indeed, a pleasure having you on. And best of luck with this initiative. We really hope to hear more about initiatives
Thank you very much.
like these. We've been chatting with Ken Ramdan, Youth Education Manager, Families in Action, and also Parenting Educator, Mr. Albert Spence. Go and check it out. It takes place simultaneously at Sangre Grande and San Fernando. Those numbers to call, 628-2333 and 622-6952. It takes place this weekend on Saturday from 9 to 11:30 thereabouts. All right, so we take a very short break. A lot more when we return. Stay tuned.